So please turn on your audio. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, sir, we are very glad to have you with us. And I am Madhura, and I'll be moderating your session for today's e-talk. So, sir, the first
Okay.
thing I'd like to ask that how and when did you start your entrepreneurship journey?
Okay, that's a wonderful question, Madhura. Before I dive into the answer, let me thank you and the team once again for inviting me and for the spectacular event you guys have pulled off so far. I've been loving all the talks that I've been hearing. So, great job, you guys. Now, moving on to how and when I started, it's a very difficult question to answer because there wasn't this one specific time or position where I said, you know what, this is what I'll be an entrepreneur. It was kind of a lot of small things kind of adding up along the way. One of the first things that I did in school, which I don't like to talk about a lot these days, I used to sell posters and CDs in school because there was a need for that in school. People like playing games, people like to put up posters on their wall. So there was a need, and I fulfilled that. And I think that is what the core of my entrepreneurial thing came from. Basically, where other people saw maybe an issue or a problem, I tried to find some sort of a solution to it, or in some way try to, instead of something that one of my mentors said, you can either create or you can complain. So you can either be part of the solution or you can be part of the problem, but you can't be both. So I think one of the very important things whenever you're starting an entrepreneurial journey or you're thinking about going into entrepreneurship is you need to have this growth mindset and this creative problem solving mindset. So that is something that I like, thankfully I always tried to inculcate within myself, whether it be by reading lots of books about the people that who inspired me, or by actually putting in the work and doing things that while other people's went out and partied, I sat inside and worked my ass off. So, you got to give up a lot for that, but I guess it all worked out, or it's still working out.
Okay, sir.
So,
So,
basically, yeah, go ahead.
so yeah. So please tell us about the story where you sold T-shirt during your college days.
Okay, that is a long story. So I'll just tell you the bullet points. Basically, what happened is, unlike you, I wasn't such a smart student. I know you're in electrical and you love it. I was in electronics and I hated it. Okay, everything went above my head. By second year, I had realized कि मेरे से तो नहीं हो पाएगा. So, but the issue in our college was if you flunked a subject, which I did, you had to re-register for that subject and you had to pay the entire fees for that subject, which was around 13, 14K. So that was a lot for me at that time in college. And I failed too. So now I had to pay 25K out of nowhere. And obviously, being from an Orthodox Bengali family, I couldn't go up to my mom and dad saying, Ki, I failed, please give me money. So I think that necessities, drove me. So because I already sold posters before, I looked into the idea of selling posters, and I stand just beside our college. Like I studied in Manipal, so just beside our college, there was the Manipal printing press, which is the, I think, second biggest printing press in Asia. So that was lucky. And then I started selling posters door to door to my college mates, to everyone, using the same concept. However, I soon figured out that I was working my ass off. I was missing all the parties. I was not having any fun, but I wasn't making any money. I was only making 2 rupees off of each poster, which is very sad. When I sat down to do the finances and I realized this, I was very heartbroken. So then I thought, okay, what other thing can I sell along this range? Because by that time, people had started in the inner circles talking about, because I always went above and beyond and, you know, gave whatever I had promised, because that is something that you have to do. You have to be accountable for your service or your product, whatever it is. So then what I did is I looked at t-shirts, because in t-shirts you could get a much better margin. It was obviously much more difficult to sell a t-shirt, but you could get a much better margin in t-shirts. So again, I thought if I sold just one or two t-shirts individually, I wouldn't be getting those margins, because your margins only come when you sell in bulk. Because printing, if you just every t-shirt has a new print and you sell this, you'll again go in loss, and I already went in loss selling posters. So I didn't want to repeat that story again. Also, like anyways, we'll get to that point later. So then I started approaching all the clubs in our college and all around our campus. So there were lots of clubs, and slowly I started building a relationship with them, because I could design. I loved designing when I was a kid, and I still do from time to time. So I gave them a hook. I told them, I think even you're in EDC, so you'll know, just before any major event comes up, everybody rushes to the designer 2 3 days ago saying, please design kar de abhi chahiye. So this is that every college across India faces. So I went to them. I said, see, I'll design your stuff for free. You don't have to give me anything. Just whatever merchandise you're getting, whether it be posters, lanyards, tags, t-shirts, you get it done through me. So that is how it started. And one by one, the club started referring me to other clubs, and it snowrolled from there. And at one point, we were like around 40% of the clubs in our college, we were selling the t-shirts to. So that is how it started. So all of it started because I failed. And that is my point. Ki when you're an entrepreneur, you'll fail a lot. And your job is not to get disheartened by these failures, but rather to see what is the lesson in that failure. Because as long as you can learn from it, then it's a blessing in disguise.
Right, sir. And since you have become an entrepreneur at a very young age, please tell us about the major rules or the major things a good business plan should consist of.
Okay, very good question. So first thing a business plan should have obviously is a good idea, a good foundation of what it is that a person is trying to do. That is it. A business plan is a guide to the founders as well as the team members as to what their vision and their mission is. Okay, so that is the first thing that they need to jot down. Second thing is, what I have noticed in a lot of business plan is there's a lack of focus. The founders want to do everything at once, target every market from every inch. They basically want to become the next Facebook, next Uber. Most people who are starting out, they think like that, but that is in reality not how it works. So whenever in your business plan, you should have a very unique and well defined market. And by this I mean, you should exactly know who your paying customers are. If you don't have paying customers, you should first, once you have an idea, you should validate that idea. How do you validate that idea? How do you validate that idea? Create a survey on SurveyMonkey, Google Form, whatever it is. Go to the end users, the people who will be using the product and the people who will be paying for the product. Go to them, ask them to fill out the survey, or directly, record a conversation, call them up on phone, on Skype, on Zoom, however it is. Record their conversation, tell them about your idea, see what they have to say, which is the most important part. And because at the end of the day, what many business plans do is they have an idea, and the founders talk among themselves and they're very excited. They think it's the next big thing, and then they go for it, they start building, and then 3 months down the line, when it's time to launch, they see nothing, because there's no one to buy the product that they've actually built. They did was talk amongst themselves and hype the idea up. The idea like has to solve a pain point of the person who you're selling it to. So it's very important that you figure out who that person is, what their needs are, what their desires are, what is the price point they're willing to pay for the thing that you're selling them. Is it worth their time? Is it saving them money? Is it making them money? So these are all the things that you need to keep in mind when you're creating a business plan. And because at the end of the day, people, you can provide value to people in three forms. So one of them is you can save them money, or you can make them money. The second is you can save them time, and the third is you can create a way of increasing their efficiency, or increasing their convenience. So which is what Uber did, it increased convenience. Now you can get a cab from the from your smartphone. So like this, you need to exactly figure out ki who your idea is exactly for, who your end consumers are, who will be paying you money, and talk to them and get as much feedback as possible from them, so that you have a bulletproof idea at the end of the day.
Right, sir. So, as you have spoken extensively across about entrepreneurship, what are some of the qualities that an entrepreneur needs to have according to you?
Well, this is there are lots of qualities. I don't think it's just about entrepreneurship. I think in life, I'd spoken about this a while back. Actually, there was a phase when I was really into motivational stuff, and I used to read every book by every motivational guy ever. So, like Robin Sharma, Gary Vaynerchuk, everyone you have ever heard of in the personal development motivation, I read that. And at the end of the day, I realized there were like 6 to 7 core things that all the books were saying basically the same thing in different ways. So I think those things, if you have it, it will help you immensely as an entrepreneur. And not only as an entrepreneur, if you can inculcate these qualities, then it will help you in life. So a good way to remember them is SAPIEN. So SAPIEN. So SAPIEN is an acronym where S stands for self-awareness. Now, self-awareness is obviously knowing what your purpose is, knowing yourself. So, being aware ki, okay, this is what my strengths are, this is what my limitations are, this is something that I've experienced in, and this is something that I want to do. So you need to be self-aware enough to understand that about yourself. Number two, A stands for action. Once you have the self awareness to do something, you actually need to act on it and go out and do it. That is the part that a lot of people get confused by. People are self aware, like they know everything, they know exactly how to do, what to do. The only thing is they don't do it in the end. So the second part of that is action. So SA. Now P stands for patience and perseverance, which if you are an entrepreneur, it you need to have that in your armory. That is patience and perseverance, because every overnight success that has a 10-year struggle story that no one has ever heard of. I think, in fact, in one of the previous session, Nikhil was sharing his story about how his friend left him after 2 years, and how many times he had to struggle before they actually, reached his goal. So, like that, you need to have a lot of patience, and you need to persevere, because there'll be a lot of hardships, there'll be a lot of failures, there'll be a lot of people, you know, trying to pull you down, making fun of you. So, you need to persevere through all of that. So that is what P stands for. I stands for intuitive intelligence. That I think you guys are all from NIT Durgapur. You guys are way more intelligent than I am, so I don't need to go on about that. E stands for empathy. Now, empathy is actually very important if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because you need to empathize with your customers, with your clients. You need to get into their headset and figure out what their needs and their wants are, because at the end of the day, you're not creating something to sell it to yourself, you have to sell it to other people. So you need to get into their shoes, see how they perceive the problem and how they want to solve it. So empathy comes in a, like, empathy is your huge weapon in your arsenal, if you can properly harness it. And the last N in Sapien is never give up, because there'll be lots of blockages, there'll be lots of hurdles to overcome. Your job as an entrepreneur is to never give up, is to keep rolling with the punches. And then there'll be a small success, then there'll be a big failure, then there'll be a bigger success, bigger failure. These things keep happening. You can't give up. As Rudyard Kipling, I think, said in the poem, if you can deal with success and failures. Wait, I forgot that poem line, but something along those lines. He had a very good line about success and failures both being temporary and not caring about either of them in high regard.
Right, sir. So, how would you motivate the young generation to help them become entrepreneurs and to boost them in their business online?
So firstly, I have to put it out there. If you're going to become an entrepreneur, that's great. That's great because we need more, job creators in this country. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that the odds are against you. So 90% of businesses close down within the first 2 years. So you have to know most probably you will not succeed. So you have to understand that, and then you have to understand, okay, what is my risk appetite and how much risk can I afford to take? So you need to figure that out. I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from entrepreneurship. I'm just giving you a realistic point of view. Now, I would suggest if you want to get into entrepreneurship, internet is a game changer. And what previously, like if you had an idea and you wanted to build something, maybe 10, 15 years back, you needed an extensive understanding of products, like extensive technical understanding of a product, extensive understanding of how to integrate the different technologies that you'll use in the product. However, nowadays everything has become so simplified thanks to technology. So now, as an entrepreneur, your job is to leverage that technology. Now, like building websites can be done in as simple as 2 to 3 hours. An app, if you have very basic coding knowledge, and if you take some online course, you can create an app in less than 72 hours. Now all those technologies are there which enables entrepreneurs. So you need to take full advantage of those technologies, and you need to start by something small. Don't think about your first, when you start first jumping in, don't think about creating Facebook, creating Uber, nothing. Figure out how you'll create your first whatever your target is, $1,000, 1 lakh rupees, whatever it is. Set your mind and then figure out how will I do it. It can be as simple as I did by selling t-shirts. It can be as simple as creating a course online. There are so many opportunities right now. You can even do something like affiliate marketing, or you can create a blog, you can create a YouTube channel, you can create a podcast. The things that you can do in today's day and age, they're numerous. So you just need to focus on one good thing that you think will work for you, and secondly, that you are interested in. So you know that you want to stick with it and you want to do it regardless of whether it's successful or not. You are doing it because you like it and you want to do it. So that is what my uh, answer to the younger generation will be. Ki use the online technologies that you have to the fullest and use that to jumpstart your business. If you're thinking of starting a podcast, go to anchor.fm. If you're thinking of starting a video series, then record and put it on YouTube, on TikTok, on wherever you want, any content sharing platform. So use the technologies that you have and start creating a loyal base. And secondly, another thing that I'd like to say is don't always push your products on people. So always, this is what one of my mentors told me, always serve before you sell. So no one likes to be sold anything, but we all love to buy stuff. Okay. And if you really think about it, we all love buying stuff, but we hate it when someone comes to us and tries to sell us something. I know it sounds very counterintuitive, but that is how our mind is wired. In fact, we try to think that we are very rational people when we are buying something, but the thing is, we are very emotional beings. So whenever we buy something with emotion, and then we later rationalize it with logic. So maybe if you think about your experiences when you have made some purchases, you'll understand more often than not that you have done it because of some impulse of emotion, and then later you have justified it with logic. So do the same. Serve whichever market you want to sell to first. Create a create some sort of a hype around you and your product, and then launch it.
Sir, if any of the budding entrepreneurs want to share their B plans with you, how will they get in touch with you?
I don't know about B plans, but if any budding entrepreneurs out there and they want my 2 cents on their idea, I'd love to help out. I love helping out and mentoring startups. So they can just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think it's LinkedIn slash Baiduria something. They can figure it out, or you can post a link and just let me know that you came from EDC Durgapur, and I'll accept your invitation.
Sir, I think it's time to take questions from the audience. Um, so we
Sure,
have
sure,
the
sure.
first question from Sukanya Datta. She's saying,
Mhm.
how would you motivate this young generation to help them become entrepreneurs?
So, if you need motivation to become an entrepreneur, you probably don't want to be an entrepreneur. So, there's like you shouldn't, should be something that you want to do from yourself. So, it should come from inherently ki, yes, I see this purpose for myself and I want to have a shot at solving it. So, my job would be if someone's already motivated, they are trying to do something and then they want help. They get stuck somewhere because I got stuck at multiple times during multiple points, and I didn't have the right people to look up to or to take guidance from. So I don't want that happening to you. So if you already have the motivation factor full and if you want help with anything else, like maybe the marketing or how to exactly launch it, then I can help you with that. But if you need motivation to become an entrepreneur, then that is very difficult because burst of motivation I can give, but then how will you keep replaying it for the rest of your life?
Right, sir. So we have the next question from Shreyan Datta. He's saying, what are the problems you feel COVID 19 has brought in, and how are you addressing them, keeping your team's concerns in consideration?
That is a very good question, my Shreyan. See, COVID has like, no matter what anyone says, COVID has affected each one of us in different ways, in one way or the other. So, right now, I think instead of us, being overtly, because this is something that has happened, we can't do anything about it, right? So, our job is to just build back up, take a step back, see what we are doing, what is working, what isn't working, and look at the opportunities that there are in this challenge. Because once again, this COVID, this is a huge problem. Now, whenever there's a problem, there is some sort of an opportunity on the flip side of the problem. So our job as entrepreneurs is to figure out what those opportunities are, and at the same time keeping taking care of everyone who I'm responsible for.
Thank you so much, sir, for your visionary thoughts. And I think it has enlightened so many young minds out there. And we are so glad to have you as one of our keynote speakers for eTalk 2020. And your presence has made this virtual e-summit a fruitful one and and a great experience for the budding entrepreneurs out there. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Madhura. Have a great day, all of you. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll be looking forward to the next event also.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye bye.